Episode 25 Leo's Tournament Part 2. Suddenly, the ground started shaking like an earthquake. A huge whirlwind erupted in the middle of the arena, blowing away everything and everyone in its way. The temperature in the room suddenly dropped by 20 degrees and the lights went dimmer and started to flicker. It was like the shadow of death was looming over everyone's shoulder. The entire class just stood in place, shivering, unable to take a single step. Moby looked up and saw a monster surrounded by shadows, or was it the god of death? Moby was so shocked that he did not notice that Layman had disappeared from under him. The unknown entity was holding Layman by the throat with such killing intent that his nether regions suddenly got wet and a brown stain can be seen from his rear. He was shaking so hard you can hear his teeth clanking against each other with the sound of an engine. "When I say that whoever cheats gets a severe punishment, I really mean it," the man said while letting out even more killing intent. Layman's eyes rolled back as they turned completely white. His mouth started foaming like crazy and his entire body stopped responding. The entire class was paralyzed in horror by the pressure and killing intent emitted from that monster. Then, as fast as it came, the pressure and killing intent suddenly disappeared. The shadow of death had passed. The monster went over to Moby and asked him with a heartwarming smile, "Hey, kid. You okay?" Moby was still in shock from what just happened, so he only managed to give back a nod. The man in front of him was no god or monster. It was Professor Leo. Moby had no idea he was such a scary strong guy. His personality flipped like a switch. He was back to his usual demeanor as if nothing happened. "Avelia, remind me to never get on Professor Leo's bad side," he thought. "Why? He's not even that strong, don't tell me you're actually scared." "That guy is not at all impressive," she said in a bored tone, like she was waiting for her morning coffee to finish heating. Moby did not know what to be more scared of. How strong and terrifying Professor Leo was when he got angry, or how indifferent Avelia felt about the situation. "I need a student that has already been eliminated to get this guy to the nurse's office," Leo said in a casual tone. No one volunteered. The entire class was still frozen from all the events that just transpired. No one dared move other than the mass shivering and teeth clanking that plagued the arena. "You there?" Leo said while pointing at a short blonde girl. Why, yes, sir," she barely managed to mutter. "Did you lose your fight?" he asked, still in his casual tone. "Clap good. Then you can take him to the nurse's office," he said with a smile. She slowly nodded before running out of the arena carrying Layman's body on her back. "Okay guys. Back to work. Let's resume where we left off and finish the first round of fights," Leo said before firing another gunshot signaling them to recommence. Moby shook his head and steeled his resolve. He could not allow things like this to get to him, or else he won't last long in the real world. After a few seconds, Moby had already regained his previous vigor as if nothing happened. The same could not be said about the rest of his classmates. They all looked traumatized, like they just went face to face with death itself and survived. The only other person he noticed who had also regained her vigor was a red-haired girl who was in his same group for the skills exam. It was the only C-rank student in his class, Abby Reed. It seemed like she was one of the only people other than him who had already finished winning their first fight. Moby predicted that if he would meet anyone in the finals, it would be her. After 5 minutes, it seemed like most of the class got their courage back. Mostly. You can still perceive a few of them still shuddering at times from the PTSD they most likely got. The next 2 rounds were just as easy for Moby to win as the first. The only difference was that this time, no one dared to cheat. Moby went against 2 more E ranks. The first one he won by tripping his opponent and then stomping on his throat with all his might, knocking him out. Ads by Pub Future. As for the second one, he managed to knee his opponent in the face by exploiting his momentum, which instantly knocked him out. Moby had already defeated a total of 3 E ranks, which gave him a total of 1200 XP for his efforts, leveling him up to level 12. Moby decided to instantly assign his 10 new skill points to Endurance, in order to bring it more on par with the rest of his stats. He now had 49 Endurance. For the fourth round, Moby is going against his first D-rank opponent, Jay Truce. He was a guy with blonde hair and lotus-green eyes standing only an inch shorter than Moby. He had hand wrappings around his hands which were typical for a boxer. "I do admit, you have some skills, kid. Even though you were physically weaker, you still defeated the other losers because of your superior martial arts training. But, what are you going to do against someone who is physically stronger than you and has professional training in boxing?" he said with a smirk. Moby just stood there seemingly unfazed by Jay's provocations. "That's right. Nothing. If you give up now, you can save face, if not then I won't have mercy on you. So, what will it be, punk?" he said with an overbearing tone. "I'll pass on that one, chief," Moby said without even batting an eye. Moby knew that what Jay said was right. So far, all his opponents have all been complete amateurs and his superior skill was able to bridge the gap in physical strength and speed, allowing him to win. But in this situation, the strength and speed gap has gotten even wider while the skill gap has gotten even narrower. Moby used his inspect skill to get a better grasp on who he is dealing with. Name, Jay Truce. Race, human. Ability, level 3 Earth. Power level, 30-10. HP, 100/100. Mana, 78 of 78. Strength, 80. Agility, 74. Endurance, 69. Intelligence, 78. Mind, 0. It seems like his stats are really well-rounded. I assume that his stats here are his stats with full use of his ability, so his actual physical prowess should be much weaker than it is listed on his stat sheet. Moby concluded. He just had to hope that the physical gap and the narrowed skill gap would not be impossible to overcome. Professor Leo shot the gun signaling the start of the round. Jay instantly bolted to Moby, throwing a few jabs. Jay was by no means a professional boxer, but the difference between him and the rest of Moby's opponents was like night and day. Moby managed to dodge all the jabs by the skin of his teeth. Then, suddenly, his last jab sped up a little faster than all his others. Moby had no room to dodge, so he had to resort to one of his skills. Demon Flash. Out of all the matches, this was the first time he was ever forced to use one of his skills. This Jay guy is no joke, he thought. Ads by Pub Future. I'm surprised you managed to dodge that, but you can't dodge forever, Jay said as he rushed towards Moby, once again throwing jabs left and right. As Moby was dodging his attacks, he noticed an opening. He ducked down and struck him in the liver where it hurts most. However, it felt like he punched a mountain rather than a person. His attack had no effect at all. Jay used this opportunity to kick Moby away using all his strength. /U003C minus 67 horsepower /U003E. Fuck. My attacks are having no effect on him, he inwardly cursed. Ha. That tickled. You call that an attack? Jay scoffed. Moby decided to take the initiative to attack this time instead of defending. He activated a chain of demon flashes that confused Jay and allowed Moby to go behind him without him noticing. Then, he struck him at the pressure point at the back of his neck with all his strength. But even still, he was not able to make him even flinch. After he noticed that his attack was useless, Moby instinctively stepped back to make distance between him and his opponent. What the fuck? Is this guy made of steel or something? Are level 3 ability users that much stronger than level 2 ability users? He thought. Thanks for that, buddy. My neck was feeling a bit sore, he said while laughing and working out his neck. Moby had already used up a lot of demon energy on his previous attack. He only had 12 demon energy remaining out of his original 55. Moby's only attack with any chance to harm Jay was his Demon Slash. But, without a sword, he would not be able to use it. Moby had never tried to gather his demon energy in his fists for an attack. But to win, he must try it. When Jay rushed again doing his regular barrage of jabs, Moby found the opening once again and infused his fists with the rest of his demon energy and went all in for the attack. Jay blocked his liver assuming that Moby was going to strike there once again. But, to his surprise, Moby was not dumb enough to try the same attack twice. Instead of going for the liver, Moby went for the jaw using an uppercut. His demon energy-infused fists managed to overcome Jay's defenses, dislocating his jaw. This left Jay stunned for a few seconds. His hands were no longer protecting his liver, which gave Moby an open hit. Moby used this opportunity to deliver the finishing blow. His fists that were still infused with demon energy hit Jay straight in the liver, causing him to spit blood and barf out his morning breakfast. Jay's limp body fell on the ground with an outstanding thud, marking the end of the match. /U003C System Alert /U003E /U003C New Skill Created /U003E Hell's Fist, Level 1. The user gathers demon energy into their fists, increasing its damage output immensely. Effect: 1.25x attack to punches. Duration: 2 seconds. Cost: 12 demon energy. /U003C System Alert /U003E /U003C You gained 1500 XP for defeating a D-class enemy. /U003E /U003C Level Up /U003E Moby is now in the final round. As he predicted, his final opponent will be none other than the strongest and only C-rank student in his class. The fire ability user Abby Reed. If you enjoy my novel, please vote to help me in the contest. Episode 26. Leo's Tournament Part 3. He assigned 8 points into intelligence and 2 points into endurance. He now has 51 endurance and 63 intelligence. He now has a maximum capacity of 63 demon energy instead of his previous 55. After Moby finished his fight with Jay, he had 0 demon energy left. Abby was still fighting her battle, which gave him time to use nature's stimulation to regain his energy. There is no way in hell he would be able to defeat Abby without the use of his demon energy. After 3 minutes, Abby had finally defeated her opponent. Attention everyone, we have finally reached the finals. You all have done very well. But now it is the time to see what the 2 best hand-to-hand fighters have got to offer. Leo said enthusiastically. On the right, we have Abby Reed. Leo said while pointing at her. The entire class erupted with cheers. She ignored them like they were not even there. She was more focused on the opponent in front of her. And on the left, we have Moby Kane. He said while pointing at the still sleeping Moby. Usually, the entire class would be booing him and throwing insults. But, in front of Professor Leo, they would not dare. They did not know how he would react to such things. After what they saw him do a few minutes ago, none of them would even risk a chance of getting on his bad side. The class just looked at him with mean, disgusted glares instead. They couldn't believe he would dare take a nap at a time like this. So you must be Moby Kane, the most hated guy in school. From the matches I saw you do, it looked like you had some real skill. I really respect the hard work and dedication you put in to get where you are now. It is a pity you do not possess an ability. If you did, I know you would be at least C rank without a doubt. I hope we have a good clean fight, Abby asked in a calm tone. Moby just kept on sleeping and did not respond to her. Abby has never been ignored or humiliated to this extent in her entire life. I will teach him proper manners, she thought angrily. The truth is, Moby was not ignoring her at all, he was still in the middle of using his nature stimulation. So, He was blocking out all outside occurrences in order to concentrate on regaining his energy. Leo lifted his gun in the air about to shoot. Abby took a fighting stance while Moby was still sleeping with seemingly no care in the world. 3, 2, 1. Ads by Pub Future. Start. Leo said as he shot his gun in the air. Without hesitation, Abby dashed towards Moby with the speed of a bullet train and performed a flying kick aimed at Moby's head. Moby used his Demon Flash to get away and dodge the attack. Due to Moby's late activation of Demon Flash, her kick still managed to graze his face. /U003C -15 horsepower /U003E. What the fuck even is my luck? God must be playing sick jokes on me because I'm a demon now. I wake up to a fucking train aimed for my forehead with only a split second to react. He thought. I assume that the final round has already started, he thought while inspecting his opponent. Name, Abby Reed. Race, human. Ability, level 4 fire. Power level, 7540. HP, 100/100. Mana, 198/198. Strength, 267. Agility, 158. Endurance, 131. Intelligence, 198. Mind, 0. What the hell? Her stats are insane. He inwardly cursed. It seems like you are finally awake. I'll have you know I don't take kindly to being so blatantly ignored and disrespected, so I will have to teach you a lesson on manners. Abby said while taking her fighting stance once again. Moby had no idea what she was talking about. He could only assume that he ignored her while he was using nature's stimulation to recover his strength. Abby darted towards Moby, unleashing a very powerful punch. Moby had no opportunity to dodge, so he did the next best thing. He needed to know how much his strength stacks up to hers. He infused his hands with demon energy and used Hell's Fist, clashing with her punch. The result of the clash was that Moby flew 10 meters away while Abby just stood there unfazed. Ads by Pub Future. The skin on his knuckles had been torn off, leaving his flesh exposed with a bloody mess. His arm became numb and bent in a weird way from the sheer strength of the impact. Moby dislocated his arm back into place, regaining control of it once again. He lost a total of 48 horsepower from that attack, which was not at all pleasant. He only had 57 HP remaining. 1 or 2 good attacks and he would be dead. He started to feel like there is no chance of winning. Then a genius idea popped into his head. A smile formed on Moby's face. He activated Hell's Fist and dashed towards Abby, throwing a punch. Abby decided to throw a punch of her own, clashing with him once again. But this time, Moby was the one left standing. Abby was blown 5 meters away and got startled a bit after the attack. The entire class, including Leo, was looking at Moby in awe at how the tables have suddenly turned. Incredible. Kid, you are smarter than I thought. The instant you felt both your hands clashing together, you raised your power level back to 1800 to boost your attack power. It was too fast and seamless for the watch to even register the sudden spike in power, and it looked too natural for all the spectators. You needed perfect timing on this, or else your attack would have had no effects, or you would have exposed your true strength to your entire class. Avelia exclaimed. However, don't get too careless. You only have 31 demon energy remaining, so you have to end this fight quickly before you run out. If you run out of demon energy, the fight would be as good as over, she added. Thanks for the advice, but I'm well aware of my situation. Now that I actually damaged her, she will start to be more careful and act less recklessly. I need to find a way to win this quickly before I run out of juice. He thought. Also, I can't do that technique all the time because it requires a huge amount of focus and mental strength. If I use that technique again, it will have to be for the decisive strikes. Wow, where did all that power come from? I guess I should stop holding back too, she said with a smile. Fuck me sideways, that wasn't her full strength. He inwardly cursed. Abby rushed over with more speed and vigor than ever before. Moby readied himself by activating Hell's Fist. They started exchanging punches left and right. From the perspective of the audience, they looked evenly matched. But that could not be farther from the truth. Even though Moby was blocking each one of his opponent's attacks, he was still taking a substantial amount of damage. /U003C minus 6 horsepower /U003E. /U003C minus 8 horsepower /U003E. /U003C minus 9 horsepower /U003E. /U003C minus 12 horsepower /U003E. The duration of Hell's Fist was only 2 seconds, so Moby knew he couldn't last much longer in this exchange. He was not able to find any openings in her technique. Moby did not want to do this, but to win, he had no choice. He had to resort to his trump card. Suddenly, Abby stopped attacking. It looked like she was paralyzed with fear out of nowhere. Moby then abruptly appeared behind her. He clasped both his hands and hit her in the back of the head with all his strength, making her fall on the ground, creating a small crater in the process. The last words she managed to barely mutter before passing out were, "What the hell are you?" If you enjoy my novel, please vote to help me in the contest. Episode 27. Reward. You have defeated a C rank enemy. Plus 5000 XP. Level up. Level up. Level up. Moby was too deep in thought to even notice all the system alerts bombarding his peripheral vision. He was the only person who was able to hear Abby's last words because she said it in such a low voice that only Moby with his enhanced senses could perceive it. Fuck. Did I go too far? I did not want to use that move in order to not arouse too many questions, but she forced my hand, he inwardly thought. Hopefully, she doesn't go running her mouth off after she wakes up about what just happened, or else I might have to add her on my hit list, he thought. The entire class was standing there speechless. They just witnessed the upset of the century. An F rank defeating a C rank even under these circumstances has never been heard of. From their perspective, it looked like Abby got startled from Moby's moves, which gave him a chance to dash behind her and catch her off guard. However, their assumptions were completely wrong. What actually happened was, during the exchange, Moby managed to get direct eye contact on Abby in order to use his Nightmare skill. This was his first time ever using it, so he was not completely sure if it would work. If the target's mental strength is too strong, the skill would have no effect. So, it was a big gamble at best. Ads by Pub Future. Luckily, it worked out fine without a problem. The effect duration of the skill increased from 0.1 seconds to 0.3 seconds due to his increased mind stat, giving him just enough time to finish the job. And the winner is Moby Kane. Leo said, also in disbelief at the outcome. He must have cheated. Someone with huge guts said from the audience. At first, people were reluctant to back him up because they were scared to get in trouble with Leo. But, if everyone does it, then he would have to punish the entire class or punish no one. That was their mentality. After the second person spoke up, a chain of students started speaking up right after. Until the entire class was in an uproar. Yeah. Are you sure he doesn't have an ability? He must have used it when no one was paying attention. Yeah. There is no way an F rank can defeat a C rank. He must have cheated. I wouldn't be surprised if he drugged her or something. The entire class kept on spewing insults and allegations until Leo finally spoke up. Everyone be quiet. He screamed, making the entire class go silent. Moby started awkwardly laughing when he heard the last part. For a second there he thought that Professor Leo figured out his true identity. But, it was just his paranoia getting to him. The entire class still looked at him haltingly, still unable to accept what happened. But, after what Leo just said, no one dared speak up. Moby knew that by winning, he would paint a bigger target on his back. But, he was banking on the reward being worth it. Professor Leo, I was wondering when I will get my reward for winning, Moby asked impatiently. Oh, that. I almost forgot I promised a reward, he said with a chuckle. Ads by Pub Future. Leo grabbed a ring with a weird crystal on it out of his pocket and gave it to Moby. As soon as they saw the ring, every student looked at it with surprise and eyes of greed. What is this? Sorry, but I'm not into jewelry, he said in confusion. He was hoping for something more flashy like a new weapon or armor, and all he got was a weird-looking ring. Leo started laughing at Moby's remark. Kid, you crack me up. This isn't just a piece of jewelry, this is a storage ring. It is a ring that can store all your objects in another dimension, allowing you to carry many things without the extra weight. It contains a total room of 5 meters cubed. Also, anything you put inside will stay the same when you take it out. For example, if you put in a hot meal, the meal would stay hot when you take it out, Leo explained. At first, Moby was unimpressed. It was just like his inventory but with only limited storage. Then his disappointment faded away when he realized the things he could do with the ring. Rings like this must be worth a fortune. I bet I can make bank by selling this, he thought. Then, an even better idea came to his mind. I can now use my inventory in front of everyone under the pretense that I am using my storage ring. It's a perfect plan, he thought excitedly. Thank you for your generosity, Professor Leo. I will gladly accept this ring, Moby said with a smile. Right after Moby took the ring, an announcement came on. Can Moby Kane please report to the general's office immediately? At first, Moby did not know why he was being called to the general's office. Then it hit him. This can't be anything good. No way the news of me defeating a C-rank student has already spread that fast. This can only be one thing. It must mean that they found witnesses saying they saw me and Eric both enter into the forest together on the day he died. They are most likely going to question me as a suspect. If they have some way to detect lies, then I'm fucked, he thought in panic. I guess that's me. I'll be going to the general's office now. Thank you for the reward, Professor, I really appreciate it, Moby said while bowing to Leo and exiting the arena. Thanks so much to everyone that supports the novel. If we try hard enough, we might be able to still squeeze first place in the contest. I believe. If you enjoy my novel, please vote to help me in the contest. 28 Interrogation. General Riker was in his office, flooded head to toe with seemingly endless paperwork. He was a middle-aged man with medium-length black hair that went down to his nose. He had a scruffy unkempt beard and blue eyes that had a case of severe bags from exhaustion and lack of sleep that made him look straight out of a zombie movie. He was a very tall man standing at 6 feet 6 inches with a broad muscular build. When I signed up to become general, I was expecting to be on the battlefield kicking ass, not stuck in a room all day forced to slave night and day on a never-ending pile of papers, he inwardly sighed. And now we have a case of murder in the school. I knew it would happen sooner or later, but I did not expect it to happen this early. If the noble households just allowed us to use the watches for tracking and monitoring every student at all times, this would not happen. All because they fear us spying on their children. It's so frustrating. Why do they make my life so much harder? We can't even use the watches to monitor their power levels in real time. Like, how paranoid can you be? All they are good for is to ping their location once they are dead, which is not much help. At least it was only some random F-ranked nobody. If it was someone from an important family, then that would have been a huge problem. If that happened, I wouldn't get to sleep for another month, he shuddered at even the thought. Witnesses say they saw the victim and this Moby Kane guy enter the woods together that day. The only leads we have been clear evidence of torture, some obscure-looking black blood splattered on the grass, and finally, Moby Kane. he thought as he took a sip of coffee and pulled up his file. Moby Kane. F rank. Power level, 800. His parents died in the war when he was young and he has been living alone ever since. He has no ability and he turned down the school's offer for a basic elemental ability orb. Interesting. He has always been a goody two-shoes in school and has no criminal background. He also became Jaden Griffith's pet in only the first 3 days of school. I don't know what his relationship with the Griffith family is, but I need to know how much they value him in order to not anger them, he thought. When Riker got to the bottom of Moby's file, he got a message. \U003C access denied. \U003E. Riker's previously dead-looking eyes lit up in surprise. What the fuck? He blurted out loud, jumping out of his seat, spitting his coffee everywhere. What kind of information about this kid would be so top secret that it would be off-limits to even a general rank in the army, he thought. Ads by Pub Future. Then a knock came from the door. Ahem. Please come in. A young handsome tanned man standing at 6 feet 0 inches entered the room. He had jet black hair with visible streaks of red, and bright green eyes that almost looked hypnotizing. General Riker kept on looking back and forth between the picture found on his file and the man in front of him. Is that even the same guy, he thought. Are you Moby Kane? Yes sir, I am. I am here answering your summons. Moby said with a salute. I guess he must have changed a lot since this picture was taken, he thought, dismissing the matter. Please take a seat on the chair in front of me. Moby went and took a seat like he was told. Do you know why you are here? No sir. Well, we have many eyewitnesses testify that you and the currently deceased Eric Quinn both entered the forest together on the day he died. I need you to answer all my questions truthfully and then I will let you leave. Moby nodded back at the general with no sign of nervousness or fear. Good, now put your hand on the magical crystal in front of you. This is a lie detector. It has been proven to work 100% of the time. So, don't even try to lie because your punishment will become 5 times more severe if you do. Yes sir. Without hesitation, Moby put his hand on the crystal and waited for questioning. If the crystal turns green, it means you said the truth. If it turns red, then it means you lied. Let's start with the big obvious question. Did you kill Eric Quinn? No, I did not. Moby answered with a serious yet almost annoyed tone. The crystal started to glow and emanated a bright white light before turning green. Riker was good at reading people's emotions. He has been in the business long enough to pick up on that. What he sensed from Moby wasn't fear or anxiety. Instead, although it was subtle, he sensed boredom and annoyance with a hint of anger that was masked under a serious face. Ahem. Ads by Pub Future. Next question, do you know what happened to Eric Quinn and how he died? Riker asked. I have no idea, all I know is he died a few days ago, he replied. The crystal shined green for this question as well. Okay, final question. What is your relationship with the Griffith family? Suddenly, Moby's face became brighter and more excited. I have a very good relationship with the Griffith family. They are very nice, rich, and powerful people. Although they can be very cheap and stingy to their only daughter, I still like them very much. Moby said with a genuine-looking smile. Riker could not believe his ears. There is no way this F-class reject has a good relationship with the prestigious Griffith household, he thought as he waited for the crystal to turn red. To his surprise, the crystal shined a bright green instead. General Riker was lost for words, he could not believe his eyes. Am I free to leave now, sir? Moby said impatiently. Yes, you are dismissed, Riker managed to mutter, still in a dazed state of disbelief. Then, I will be excusing myself. Thank you so much for your hospitality, Moby said with a bow as he exited the general's office. First, there is a locked section on his file that even I can't access, and next, he has a very good relationship with the Griffith family. At first, I thought he was just some random nobody. But now, I have to reconsider my opinion. He might be more important than I anticipated. I'm going to keep a closer eye on this Moby Kane guy, he thought while ruffling his beard. Moby's POV, Moby stormed out of the general's office with bottled-up anger and annoyance. It was really boring and time-consuming. It was already time for the break, so he didn't have to return to class. Instead, he marched up all the way to the school roof in anger like he was raring to give someone a piece of his mind. There, he saw a 6 feet 0 inches tall tanned man with black hair that had a few streaks of red. He was looking up in the sky with an uneasy expression like he was waiting for someone to arrive. That man was none other than Moby. You better have a good explanation for all this. Moby screamed at himself. If you are reading this and you enjoy my novel, please leave a review to help the novel get rated. Third place in the contest is about to overtake us, so if you enjoy my work and want to support me in the contest, please vote with Power Stones. If you enjoy my novel, please vote to help me in the contest. Episode 29. Partners. You contacted me in the middle of class asking me to transform into you and to go to the general's office to answer some questions like they were directed at me. You gave me no explanation at all. And now, I even wasted all my lunchtime talking with the general. Just because your sorry ass was too lazy to go yourself. Jaden said angrily. That's because I couldn't explain anything to you without messing up the plan. You needed to go in blind or else it would have never worked, he sighed. Really? Well then explain yourself. She said while crossing her arms. I lost our mind link as soon as you entered his office, so I got even more worried than usual. He must have had some magic crystal that prevents outside communication or interference. It seems like our mind link isn't something that can bypass everything, he groaned. Okay, I guess that's good to know, but you still didn't answer my question. Explain yourself. She said as she got angrier. First of all, did you make sure you weren't followed when you came up here? Of course I did, I'm not an idiot, you know. She said in annoyance. Good. Now, first of all, I need to know how it went with the general, he asked. Leaning forward with anticipation. He just asked me about that trash Eric Quinn who died in the forest a few days ago. He made me take a lie detector test with a magic crystal. He first asked me if I killed him, which I answered, no. Then, he asked me if I knew what happened to him or if I knew any leads, which I also answered, no. And lastly, he asked me what my relationship was with the Griffith family, which I answered honestly. All my answers came back as true, and then I was dismissed from his office. A huge weight the size of a mountain just got taken off Moby's shoulders. If they did a proper investigation instead of relying on a lie detector, they definitely would have been able to find the truth. They would have asked more questions and they would find holes in Jaden's answers. For example, if they asked her what time she got home that day and she said 6 o'clock, and then they asked Moby's dorm mates the same question and they answered 11:50, it would be a massive contradiction. Luckily, they relied on a lie detector which was 100% accurate, that allowed them the luxury to only ask a few very broad and important questions. Their strategy would have worked flawlessly if they were actually interrogating the right person. Moby had to take a huge gamble. If they used a lie detector, then he would be fine. But if they did a proper investigation, he would be caught without a doubt. Luckily, Lady Luck blessed him for once in his life and his gamble paid off. Or, maybe, I was the one who killed him, and if I went I would be fucked, he said with a sigh. When Moby asked her to do his plan, he specifically made it look like he was too lazy to go himself. This was the first ever proper order he had ever given to her since he turned her into a demon, because he knew this was the only way she would do it. He had to be sure that the idea of him being the killer never crossed her mind. He had to make 100% sure that she would not suspect him as the killer and only see it as he was simply too lazy to go. If she was able to deduct that Moby was the killer, the interrogation would have ended in disaster. Jaden stood there with an odd expression on her face. She finally started to connect the dots. Everything started to make sense to her. It was no wonder he did things as he did. If I knew anything, then he would have been busted. That's why he had to leave me in the dark and pretend like he was simply too lazy to go, she thought. I finally understand what happened, she said while calming down. But, I need you to explain everything to me. I'm really curious about all of this, she said in a serious tone. Moby knew that when he made Jaden into a demon, he would eventually have to explain everything to her. He could not hide everything for long. Now is the perfect time to tell her. Moby told her everything that happened to him ever since his first day of military school. Of course, he left out all the parts about the system. He told her that demons get much stronger after every fight and get strength a lot faster than humans as his excuse to explain his sudden growth in power. Jaden listened to his story in a serious tone with genuine worry. Normally, she would not care at all about others' problems, but for some reason, she seemed like she cared about Moby's. She had never had any friends other than Alex, but even he eventually left her. She grew up very spoiled from a very young age. She always got what she wanted whenever she wanted with no repercussions. She would always get her way with people at school and they could do nothing about it because they are scared of her family. She grew up seeing everyone beneath her on the social standings as no more than one of her playthings. Ever since she had met Moby, she had felt happier than usual. He had full control over her. But instead, he didn't abuse his power in making her do things she doesn't want to do like she would have done in his position. Instead, he made her into a cool demon and helped her control her powers. And, on top of that, they have a very similar sense of humor and satisfaction. Only now she notices that she had finally made her first real friend. When Moby was telling his story of how he was abused every day and how Nathan tortured him because of his necklace, he noticed that Jaden seemed like she genuinely felt bad for him. Moby even used his mind link to read her emotions to double-check he was not imagining things, and it confirmed his suspicions. What the fuck? I thought she was a heartless psychopath. Why the hell would she feel bad when she does the same shit all the time? He thought. Then, when he got to the part about when he killed and tortured Eric, her expression completely changed. Ha ha ha. Tell me more about the part where you smashed his head into a rock until he was toothless, she said as she was dying of laughter. Never mind, she is a psychopath. But, so am I, he thought with a chuckle. She found the explanation of Moby describing his torture methods so amusing that at times she would be on the ground rolling on her stomach. Moby was also having fun reminiscing about all that happened. He was actually having fun for once instead of just pretending. Moby had never let himself go this hard in his entire life. With her, he felt like he could actually be himself with no worries of betrayal or manipulation because of their mind link. The conversation then escalated to more serious topics. What is your current goal right now? She asked curiously. Honestly, my current goal is to just get as strong as possible. I have no idea what I should do or what my purpose is, he sighed. I'm sure you'll find one eventually, she said, brimming with optimism. Suddenly, the bell rang, marking the end of the break, abruptly ending their conversation. Well, if you have anything fun planned, just let me know. After your story just now, I am raring to give some of your methods a try. From now on your enemies are also my enemies, we are partners after all, she said, with a sadistic smile. Well, then you're in luck. Meet me after school and I will explain everything to you, partner, he said, with a smile that was somehow even more disturbing than hers. If you enjoy my novel, please vote to help me in the comments.